All right, this is Added Beauty. Welcome. I'm Dana. Let's talk about Valentine's Day. So, happy Valentine's Day, first of all, and a little commotion for the red dress. What's up? I had it in the closet for so long, and I don't wear red as often, but I figured now's as good a time as any. Let's pull it out. So, I'm a few days delayed. I got a little sick. It was allergies. It turned into something more. So here we are. But I'm going to get back on my grind of trying to make sure that I hit my 100 videos in as close to 100 days as possible. So today is Saturday, February 14th. And it was a good day. It was a good day. I don't have a Valentine, but I felt the love anyway. So let me tell you about it. My kids surprised me, and they gave me two super sweet cards. One's like a little pop-up with Snoopy on top of a house, and I'm not sure what that has to do with love or Valentine's Day, but it's super cute. And another one that's also just a lot of fun. And they gave me some really pink, lovely tea roses, which I thought was very nice. And yeah, I started the day off. I'm actually on call to the OR this weekend, so I started the day off with many morning phone calls because we are trying to not do cases today on Saturday unless they were actually emergencies. But whatever happens on holidays or days like this when we're trying to minimize for a number of reasons. Sometimes it's just so the staff can have, some time with their own families. And in this case, we're doing some turnover, some things in the department, and we needed to have the time to do it. But there's always those one or two or three or four surgeons who maybe have a little extra time on their hands for one reason or another. Now, I already said I don't have a Valentine, but, I don't go looking for work to drag other people into to keep myself occupied or whatever the case may be. But anyway, I got a bunch of calls about various cases, and some of them were emergencies, and then I did green light those, and some of them were not, and I had to hold the line and say, no, we're not doing that. So I had probably 4 or 5 phone calls before I even got out of bed this morning. I did not make it to my yoga class today, but I also didn't feel bad about it. I felt like, give myself a break. I hadn't been feeling well this week. Also didn't want to overdo it. So, once I got going, it was a beautiful day. Ran a couple of errands, one of which is my usual farmer's market trip on Saturday. Got my favorite green drink. That was nice. Beautiful sunny day. And I got to spend some time with my son, which was lovely. And we went, and while we were out, we ran past a Marie Callender's, and I didn't even know they were still open. And they had a big sign saying they were having a pie sale, so you know what happened. We went and got a couple pies, one for him to have some of, and one to take to my daughter and my new son-in-law. So we did that as well, and I came home. My son actually made dinner. It was very, very sweet of him, and actually it was very tasty. He made spaghetti, and so that's what we had. I got a lot of good friend messages. My girls, I don't know, we don't do Galentine's Day or anything like that, but we usually do kind of shout out each other and say, hey girl, hey, how you doing? And, there's always a few guy friends or exes that pop up to say, hey, how you doing? And yeah, that. But nothing that was like, hey girl, just like a, happy V-Day, how you doing? And so, I thought about it. I think I used to look at Valentine's Day and probably also my birthday like days that you reflect on where you are. On your birthday, it could be reflecting on anything, your romance, your finance, your just life in general. You know, how am I doing at this age? And I think for Valentine's Day, you kind of do some of the same thing for your love life. Like, you know, have you found your person? Are you dating? Are you single? How are you feeling about that? And this year, I didn't really spend too much time on it. Like, being single didn't bug me. Like, I still want to find my person, obviously. And I hope it happens soon. But I wasn't like lamenting, oh gosh, I'm single on Valentine's Day, and you know, everybody else is doing what everybody else is doing. Because first of all, everybody else is not. Some people are, some people are not. But everybody else's situation doesn't matter. My situation matters. Everybody else's situation doesn't matter. Your situation matters, right? So I felt the love from family and friends, and that was enough for today. You know, fantasy Valentine's Day. I mean, sure, I've got a picture of it, but then at the same time, you always remember that Valentine's Day is like more, I mean, there is an actual Saint Valentine, or actually there's two, that in Catholic tradition were to be celebrated on this day. But aside from that, the love holiday that people have turned it into, you know, it's commercial, right? It's meant to sell flowers, cards, candy, and whatever else. And it's nice if it helps people to remember to let their person know how they feel about them and cherish them. Maybe have a little romance, maybe have a little role. Sure, why not, right? But it doesn't have to be today. It could be all year. I would hope that it would be more than just today. I think fantasy Valentine's Day for me. I don't know. I mean, I've had some good romantic moments over the years, or people that have done romantic things for me, men who have, I mean, there's been flowers, there's been cards, there's been candy, jewelry, plane tickets, you know, one guy flew me out somewhere, sent a car, which I think he was trying to be baller, but really I was like, you could have come to get me, bro. You know, like the guy with holding the sign, like, you know, looking for you. And, you know, then it was, you know, high-end suites, and he got me my own because I was like, we're not, you know, jumping straight to that. And, you know, we saw a couple of Broadway plays, you know, all high-end 5-star dinners, and yeah, blah, blah. But I think, and he was offering a lot of, you know, if you get with me, da-da-da-da-da. But what I didn't like was he was rude to the service people. And to me, that's a character flaw. Because if you are mean to people who are doing honest work for honest pay, and you treat them like they're beneath you, then that's not my dude. So, I mean, I enjoyed the experiences, or, you know, the access, but ultimately, and it was very short-lived, I was like, nah, this is not my person. But I've gone out with people, you know, various stations, if you want to call it that. I have just as much fun going out with somebody for tacos and a hole in the wall as something high-end. And I think, you know, the most sentimental gifts for me are more important. And I remember I was dating someone pretty seriously for several years, and this person, super talented, super smart, also very musically talented. And I love music. I love live music. I'd love to go to concerts all the time. I like smaller venues than bigger if I can, but if it's a big venue to see my person, like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm so glad I got to see Prince a bunch of times, but I know he's throwing some major concerts in heaven. Anyway, this person wrote me a song, And when he played it for me, it was like this most beautiful kind of like aria, you know? And I was like, oh my gosh, like besides being, touched romantically and all of and besides the music just being beautiful, I was like, man, this person is talented. That was probably one of the things that, really stuck with me. And, you know, mushy cards where somebody tells you how they're feeling and all that stuff. So I can't say I've never had, some levels of romance. I just am not currently with my person. And some of the people who did some of the romantic gestures or, what's traditionally considered romantic may or may not have been my person. So obviously not, we're not together now. But for my Valentine fantasy, will probably really just be somewhere that maybe it's at home even, right? Like a nice meal at the house that maybe we cook together and some nice music, maybe a couple candles. I really like fresh flowers. And for me, that's not necessarily a romance thing, but I do like them from my person. But I also like to buy myself flowers. Like I always want fresh flowers on my table. I don't know, like do you guys have anything like that where you're kind of like, it's a creature comfort thing that makes you feel like feminine, or it's just add something extra to your home? For me, it's fresh flowers. And I guess my kids know that, and that's why they bought me those pink roses. But yeah, I think it's probably a dinner at home. It's probably some soft music, some soft lighting. It's probably just being really comfortable with the person that I'm with. Like we just get each other and we don't have to do a lot of talking, although we could. And, a little hand holding, a little touching, a little whatever happens between grown people when you're at that point. Basic, right? It doesn't have to be big gifts. I think, if you talk about love languages, mine are probably, I think physical touch and probably words of affirmation. I think, we're all a little bit of all of the things. Gift giving is nice. I'm good at gift giving. Like that's one of the things that I do is gift giving. I don't necessarily look for someone to be a big gift giver to me. I think that I'm a person that gives affirmations and tries to give compliments and things like that. Quality time, that's my other one, for sure. Quality time, that's the one I couldn't think of. I was like, no, I'm still forgetting one, but my top 2/3 would be probably quality time and physical touch. And then words of affirmation too. So, I don't know, I mean, I feel like it doesn't have to be super serious. A nice surprise that happened today. A good friend of mine, another person who's multi-talented. I mentioned that, he knows I'm doing these videos and I'm working on like trying to figure out what my brand looks like and everything. I've done some little work on my thumbnails and I'll start to post better looking thumbnails at some point. And a friend of mine that's a new subscriber suggested that maybe I have like some theme music. And I was like, well, I mean, that sounds like a good idea. I've already told you I love music. And so I was like, yeah, I wonder if I could spin something up. And I mentioned it to this friend of mine. And I said, I think I want some theme music, maybe like for intro, outro of my little videos. And I kind of just mentioned the vibes that I was feeling. And do you know he gave me not one, but two soundtracks today. I just told him about it today. And so, I mean, I've got good friends. I cannot lie. I've got good friends. And I love both of them. I think I've picked which one I want. Now I've got to like play with it and figure out, you know, like editing segments, because I could use maybe different pieces for different things. And so I'm looking forward to playing it for you and letting you, you know, see what you think too. But it's vibey. It feels like me, right? I think it's kind of a little neo soul, because that's my vibe. And maybe a little samba feeling. I did kind of mention I like that, and I gave him a couple samples of things, and it's got a woman's voice. It doesn't sound just like my voice, but you know, doesn't need to, right? But I feel like it's kind of soothing, but a little bop. So I'm excited to incorporate that too. And as these videos keep going, we'll get better. Like, I feel happy to get a chance to talk to you guys and share a little bit more about what makes me me, but I also want to hear about what makes you you. And I also want us to use the time to think about being creative, you know. One more thing I did today was drive by. So I've been talking to you guys about looking potentially for a new job and potentially whether that would involve a new place or not. And I'm thinking more about staying in the area, whether it's staying at the same job or not, but maybe staying local instead of moving out of the area. And so I was looking around and we found a spot that we like, me and my son. And so we've gone to see it twice, and then we said, yeah, all right. So I put in the application. Then I should hear like Monday or Tuesday. I'll let you know how it turns out. I don't anticipate a problem unless all of a sudden somebody else swooped in before we did. But what I like about the place is it has a lot of character and it has a lot of light. And I feel like even though I'm a water baby in a lot of ways, I definitely need the sun. Like, I couldn't live like Oregon, or well, maybe some parts, but not like Portland. I couldn't live like Seattle. The weather would probably have me having like seasonal affective or something like that. And I know it's beautiful and I love places that are really green, but I need a little more sunlight. And so whenever I think about homes that I want to be in, I also want them to have a good amount of light, because it feeds my soul more that way. And I wanted more space so that, you know, I have room to do like my exercising. I have room to, you know, have my office and room to make these videos. And then just still not have like that any of those things take over the house. And so we found this spot. It's kind of, it's over 100 years old. And so it's a character home. And I like that too. Like, I like the modern conveniences, but I like the character that old homes have. But usually old homes have bad bathrooms and bad closets. And this one had excellent closets, like a walk-in closet in every room. Couldn't believe it. And just a zillion built-ins, a zillion windows. And it still has an ocean view from a couple of rooms. So almost double the size of where we are now. So crossing my fingers, but actually I'm praying that it turns out that we get it and it turns out to be a good move. So we'll see. So one of the things we did today was kind of drive by it and dream a little bit. My son is thinking about the extra space that, you know, he'll have to, you know, kind of like make his little man cave, and then, you know, how he'll set up his room and that. And for me, I love design, I love decor and home goods and things like that. So in addition to the home goods store, I'm gonna have to work on at some point finding a way to work with home goods, because I give them too much of my money. But you know, it's given me an opportunity to just kind of think a little bit about like, oh, maybe I'll need another couple of furniture pieces. Maybe I'll need some more pillows. Maybe I'll need some more, you know, decor in some ways, and that'll be fun to shop for. I gotta be mindful of my money because I do have some goals, including my travel goals for this year. But it would be fun to work on additional ways to make it feel cozy and feel, that soft life vibe, um, and make it our own. And so that was a fun Valentine's Day activity too, just to dream a little bit. And I started making little notes like, oh, I'm gonna need some more plants. I'm gonna need, maybe a comfortable chair to sit in to do these, or to just do my journaling. For my school program, we're doing some journaling throughout, on different things and different modalities that we're trying, different thoughts that you're having, your mindfulness things that you're working on, all that. And so I want kind of like a cozy corner that I can curl up. I usually sit kind of with my legs up, kind of tucked under, and work on my laptop or do my writing and things like that. And so I could picture a space that has plants or flowers and a big cozy chair to curl up in, and just cute little space and some nice light streaming in, and maybe that will feel extra groovy, and I'll come up with something brilliant from being able to have that space and clear my mind and do those things. And so all in all, I would say it was a very, very good day. Tomorrow I'll have to do a little bit of homework. I'll do church, and I will try to rest before the marathon starts again at work. And I'm still going to be on call, so I'm still going to get more calls about everything. Unfortunately, lately we've had a couple of sets of folks that passed, and so some of the cases that we've done have been organ procurements, but then I guess fortunately other lives will be saved. And sometimes those things take more coordination, so I'm sure, I know I'm supposed to have one tomorrow in my OR, so I'll get some calls about that. But I'll pray for the family who's having the loss, and pray for the families who are gonna have good news. And I'll also pray for my love to show up, and be hopeful for just more love in general in the world, because right now, but at all times I'll remember to be grateful. A lot to be grateful for. A lot of good things coming down the pike that we gotta keep my foot on the gas about, but I'm working on it. This was a step for me to get back on the horse of doing these videos. It was, it's easy to fall off, right? At the beginning of the year, you start doing something and it's going well for a while, and then you kind of fall off. And I fell off for a few days because I didn't feel good, but we're back, baby. So, all right. I'm excited. I want to hear what you're excited about. Are you still being consistent with your stuff? Did you have a real fun Valentine's Day? Hopefully you still are. It's not quite midnight yet, and maybe it turns into one of those long nights. I don't know. I'm not mad at you if it did. Look, I gotta live vicariously through somebody. I don't know. But happy Valentine's Day. And let's do it. Let me get it together here. All right. Take my breath. Yeah, feels good, right? Now imagine we do this and maybe we have some jazzy music in the background pretty soon. It's gonna be less ghetto around here. Okay, one more for the road. the feeling of namaste. You know what namaste means? The light in me sees and appreciates the light in you. And I think that's an awesome thing to remember while we're being, I don't know, soft life, if you want to call it that, while we're being kind of just taking it easy for ourselves, for our friends, for ourselves. I think it's great. I'll see you tomorrow. Remember to add some beauty to your life. Remember to take some rest because you've earned it. And remember to compliment someone, including yourself. Look in the mirror and compliment yourself. Maybe consider getting your own theme song too. And have a good night. All right. I'm glad you're here. Consider liking and subscribing also. Let me not forget to say that, please. Consider liking and subscribing and telling a friend about us. All right.